clip let's reenact a conversation we may have had 4 to 5 years ago, Richard. Oh, Richard, that new Marvel movie is coming out. I'm so excited to see it. Are you?
Of course. I've got 2 eyes, ears, and a heart, don't I?
And a penis. And they make me so erect. No, I'm so excited to see the new Marvel film, of which there are only 2 to 3 per year. How exciting it must be. No one's criticizing them. Everyone's relatively happy with their quality. Nothing's going wrong. Nothing's going wrong. You know what I could use more of, though?
What's that?
Everything. Let's get more of it. Let's saturate the market. Let's become synonymous with Blockbuster. Let's have people use Marvel as a shorthand for movie auditions they went to and didn't get. You know? That's what Jeremy Allen White did this week. He said that he auditioned for a Marvel-y film.
Who's Jeremy Allen White?
He's the main actor in The Bear.
What's The Bear?
Oh, we're still 5 years ago.
Well, we're now. As far as I'm concerned, we're now.
All right. When you said we're now, I was like, oh, do you actually just not know who Jeremy Allen White is? But it's like, he was in movie 43.
Oh, yes, yeah. Oh, he's in, I've never watched it, but he's in Shameless, I think.
Yeah, he's in no, that hasn't come out yet. He's in Eternal Love, movie from 2018.
Yeah, which is the current year.
Yeah, which is the current year. I'm so excited for more Marvel. Richard, we're back in 2023.
Okay, now let's have a conversation we might have now. Get into character. We both know who Jeremy Allen White is. We've both watched The Bear.
I've only seen a little bit of it.
That's your character I'm giving you.
All right.
So AJ, I hear you just finished The Bear. I've also seen the series, but now
here's what happens in the end, AJ.
Speaking of consuming content, you'll probably be going to see the new Marvel film. Is that correct?
I wasn't aware it was out yet, Richard, and I've skipped the last few, and I don't think it'll make sense, Richard.
I haven't kept up with I've been too busy watching The Bear.
Welcome to the Cold Popture podcast, where 5 years ago we did celebratory episodes on the MCU, and it was the spirits were high, and now Richard, I don't care about talking about Marvel anymore.
Okay, well, this podcast was your idea.
I care deeply about talking about why I don't care about Marvel anymore.
I care deeply about talking to you, my friend. I care deeply about talking for the benefit of our listeners.
And I feel deeply about talking about the season 2 finale of The Bear, starring Jeremy Allen White.
Do you know what's funny? I actually haven't finished season 2, but I think I watched everything except the finale. Like, we were watching it because Jess and I both watched season 1 separately. I watched it like just before season 2 came out. She watched it when it first came out, and then we were like, "Oh, we'll watch season 2 together." And then I think we were like 1 or 2 episodes to go, but we haven't watched it in like 3 months. Funny stuff.
Hilarious.
Funny stuff.
So yeah, we are living in the downward spiral of superhero movies broadly, but I feel like it's easier to say the MCU, it's easier to say Marvel, a series which I genuinely felt excited for. I mean, I reckon Endgame, one of the best cinematic experiences I've ever had.
Yeah.
I didn't love all of them, but I really liked seeing what each new movie would do with the formula. And they didn't feel like they were the symbol of the very death of cinema itself.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what they feel like now.
Yeah. So what we're going to do today is just to spice things up and to add some structure to our little Marvel conversation we're going to have. I've got 3 rounds of a quiz I'm going to give to AJ, and then we'll use each of those as sort of a jumping off point for a different discussion around Marvel. And, like a lot of commentators, kind of using Marvel as a catch-all term for, like, superhero blockbusters. But the first thing we're going to do is there's been a lot of talk recently about whether or not Marvel movies are quote-unquote cinema. And what we're going to do here is, AJ, I've got... Because also the hot thing to do in every interview is ask any kind of creative person what they think of Marvel. Would they ever do a Marvel film? What do they think of superhero movies? And then it becomes a headline. It's great.
I've literally it's not out yet, but I've literally just finished editing a junket interview with Ridley Scott for Napoleon, in which he unprompted just says, we are inundated with superhero movies.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, looks like this video is going to go viral.
So I'm going to give you a quote from someone, and you have to just identify who that quote is from. Feel free to keep your own score. There's 10 questions per round, 3 rounds.
Okay.
So the round is called Who Said That? So the first quote is, going to the movies has become like a theme park. Who said that?
That was Martin Scorsese.
Incorrect.
Okay.
This is actually a quote from...
If I were writing this quiz, I would have put the Scorsese quote first, and that's 100% of why I guessed that.
Yeah, so this is a quote from 2017, 2 years before Martin Scorsese made that quote. And this is a quote from Jodie Foster, who went on to say, studios making bad content in order to appeal to the masses and shareholders is like fracking. You get the best return right now, but you wreck the earth. It's ruining the viewing habits of the American population and then ultimately the rest of the world.
Jodie Foster is great. The more I learn about Jodie Foster, the more I'm like, hell yeah, Jodie Foster. What an astute thing to say in 2017 when we were still sucking off from the teat of Kevin Feige, you know? Like, we were still lapping that shit up. I remember specifically thinking 2017 was a fantastic year for Marvel.
Yeah, because that was like Thor Ragnarok,
Spider-Man Homecoming, and Guardians 2.
Yeah.
That was the best year for the MCU.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, pound for pound.
Yeah. But yeah, no, interesting. Like the reason I put it in there to trip you up was, that interestingly, the theme park thing first said by Jodie Foster. So, second one. The fact that the films themselves don't interest me is a matter of personal taste and temperament. I know that if I were younger, if I'd come of age at a later time, I might have been excited by these pictures and maybe even wanted to make one myself.
He did say pictures, which is going to make me think once again, this is from Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, so this is from Martin Scorsese, you're correct.
Nice.
So this is when he called Marvel movies theme park rides, and then he did that like op-ed that was, I called Marvel movies theme park rides. Let me explain. That's a quote from this. So it's actually, reasonably kind to them. And, he's kind of become the face of the anti-Marvel movement. But calling something a theme park ride isn't necessarily that much of an insult.
Not at all. Not at all. And I think he is communicating something much deeper. And it's really funny. Do you remember what you thought of Martin Scorsese's comments back when he said them in 2018, 2019? Do you remember what your first reaction was?
Are you like, do you remember my first reaction? Are you going to like throw it back at me?
I'm not tricking you.
Because I get where he's coming from. I've always gone where he's coming from. And the thing of like, because he talks about back in my day, the cinema, and this word cinema has become like is now, you got to define it. But he said that it's like those theme park rides, cinema, were all the same thing. You would go and watch Dog Day Afternoon, and that would be the biggest selling movie. I don't know if it actually was of that year, but it's like those. I mean, we just did a Patreon episode on The Sixth Sense, which was the second highest grossing film of 1999 after The Phantom Menace.
Sixth Sense was holy shit. That movie like The Sixth Sense wouldn't break the top 10.
Well, might even get a theatrical release.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. But yeah, that like, and you can kind of attribute this to as well, like the success of Jaws ended the new Hollywood era and brought in the blockbuster era.
But even Jaws is an intensely more intellectual film than like Captain Marvel, Yeah. I should have picked one that men. It's already been said.
But because I watched when we were doing the director project, I watched this, I think I've mentioned a few times, this really interesting interview with Steven Spielberg from 1992, where the guy's talking to him about how, like, you've been called responsible for, like, the death of Hollywood, because now people are expecting Spielberg-sized hits, and they're putting more money into films, and they're requiring the same sort of return on investment. And Spielberg just kind of says, that's not my cross to bear. Like, I make these films. But, so at the time throughout the 80s, essentially it was like Spielberg was the face of ruining Hollywood. And now he's like, seen as one of the golden boys of the golden age.
And wasn't that quote just before he dropped Jurassic Park and Schindler's List?
But also, part of this interview was talking about, like, I can't remember exactly how the interviewer phrased it, but it was like, how does it feel knowing that you'll never get an Oscar now? Because your career is ostensibly over, people don't make good films this far into their career. And it's like, the next year he dropped Schindler's List, won Best Picture and Best Director, and dropped Jurassic Park, one of the most successful films of all time.
Yeah. So I think when I first heard this quote, I remember Taika Waititi was asked about it. And he was just like, well, he's wrong. You go to the cinema to watch Thor Ragnarok. It is cinema. And I thought it was so funny, and I thought that Scorsese was being a bit of a snob. I remember Jon Favreau was like, Scorsese has earned the right to say whatever the fuck he wants a bit.
Yeah, I remember, and Robert Downey Jr. was on Howard Stern and was just like, what? Why the fuck are people asking Scorsese? Like, who the fuck? Of course that's what he thinks. Like,
Yeah. And it's funny because at the time I genuinely felt more inclined to be a defender of superhero blockbusters. And now I'm a little bit older. I've explored my own artistry in the last couple of years, and I wouldn't say it's funny. It's like I'm a real big fan of Scorsese, but I'm not crazy about any of his films necessarily. Or at least I haven't seen all of them, and I need to. But he just seems like he's the best filmmaker in the world right now. That's kind of how I feel about him, and it's like, yeah, dude probably has fucking wisdom that's probably what's filling up his massive eyebrows, is all the wisdom he has about art and filmmaking and shit. And it's like, we should have listened to him. And now, Taika Waititi, a villain in Hollywood now. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny. It's like, it was so quaint back then, but he was fucking right, and it just got worse.
I think if you read the op-ed, it makes a lot of sense. That it's like, talking about that their theme park rides, they're just meant to thrill and not make you think. But we've got a few more quotes to get through, so the next one follows straight on the back from that. Which director said, Martin was kind when he said it's not cinema. He didn't say it's despicable, which I just say it is.
Let's go Ridley Scott again. Is that Ridley?
No, that's Francis Ford Coppola.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely.
Of course it's like someone of that era.
Yeah. It's despicable.
Yeah.
I like how this is being scaled. Yeah. No, look, it's so frustrating because you were saying, like, the comparison to Spielberg, people ask him what's it like to have ruined movies right before he dropped Jurassic Park and Schindler's List. It's like, the thing is, that same swoop is not going to happen to superhero movies. I don't think.
I think you're not confident in Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis.
Well, that's notwithstanding, to be honest. But I more mean superhero movies as an entity are not going to have the same, like, coming in clutch that Jurassic Park and Schindler's List had for the Spielberg argument, right? Like, it is already too late, and I think that the bigger problem here is, like, superhero movies, the formula that they must follow is so much more restrictive than what any given director can continue to make movies about. And I think that formula is a seldom discussed reason for why they kind of suck now, is like, yeah, we get it. They got superpowers. They got to fight a world-ending villain. Like, even it's got to the point where even the subversions of this are, like, overdone. Where, like, things like The Boys
and
Invincible.
Deadpool.
Yeah, it's like, these are all already here, and they might be good in their own right, but, like, I'm so uninterested in watching what film Twitter call cape shit these days, Like, it's all, even the stuff that's making fun of it is still complying to it.
Yeah, well, something like The Boys as well is like becoming the very thing it swore to destroy. That it's like
Right.
The Boys makes fun of the corporate conglomeration of like, and there's a lot of digs at Marvel and DC and that, but it's like they've just finished their season 1 of their spin-off. They've got like, they had like an animated spin-off that it's like, it's becoming
the
its
enterprise
own.
is expanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. And that capitalist like kind of like view on art of making the cinematic universe, look where that went. There was a time when we would laugh, right? We would say everyone's trying to do cinematic universes and only Marvel is succeeding. And now Marvel's not succeeding and they're being swallowed by themselves. And like, look at something like Scoob, a movie which should have been a Scooby-Doo movie that bafflingly decides to be a superhero movie and tries to set up a universe. Like that formula I was talking about is spilling and infecting movies that don't need to be that format, you know?
Can you tell me who said, I've learned that you don't make $170 million movie with someone else's money and not have to collaborate a lot. The Marvel experience was particularly wrenching because I was sort of given absolute freedom while we were shooting, and then in post it turned into a different movie. So that is something I hope to never repeat and don't wish upon anyone else.
Okay. All right. I'm going to throw out a few names.
Mm-hmm.
Who, so Kenneth Branagh is the first one I'm thinking.
Yep.
Don't tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Thor 1.
Directed Thor 1. Who fucking directed first Captain America and Jurassic Park? Joe Johnston?
Yep.
It might be him. It's not going to be any of the big names because they're still, as far as I can think, they're still in the pocket of big Marvel. Or Louis Leterrier, maybe?
Who did
Is it any
Incredible
of those?
Hulk?
Yeah, is it any of those three?
It is not.
No? Okay, give me a bit more. Okay, who directed... It won't be Peyton Reed. He's the biggest... He's their little baby, I think, at the
Yeah.
Peyton Reed. He doesn't have a career without Marvel.
He would never speak out against the tent.
Is it Edgar Wright?
No.
No.
That would make sense, though.
I don't know. Who is it?
It's Alan Taylor, director of Thor: The Dark World.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Of course it is. That's the one that makes the most sense.
Yeah, the one who has since proven that he has like probably the least exciting creative vision on his own. They also like, you know, it's just, you know, I don't want to bag on him too much, but it's like this guy coming from TV where the point of TV is you are there to service the showrunner's vision. And then to go, yeah, I hated working in this machine. It's like, it was kind of perfect for you, dude. Like, and then because he went on after that to do the Terminator Genesis, which was also really bad.
His machine, though, was Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So I can understand feeling like you're hot shit on toast coming out of Game of Thrones. And then being like, this machine's not as good as my last machine.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so he did do one film called Palookaville before Thor, but then he also did The Many Saints of Newark.
Oh, he did. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. This is a nice simple quote. Who said, I actually hate them?
Spike Lee.
No, that's a good guess.
I'm thinking of like directors that don't give a fuck about what people think of them. Is it a director or
it's a director, yeah.
It is a director. I actually hate them. Matt Johnson? That sounds like something.
No, this is from Jane Campion.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you have a full quote?
I'll see if I can. I'll see if I can get more. Okay. Oh, so the full quote is, "I hate them," she said to Variety. "I actually hate them."
That's it.
She said, "I think it's safe to say I will never do that. They're so noisy and like ridiculous. Sometimes you get a good giggle, but I don't know what the thing is with the capes, a grown man in tights. I feel like it must come from pantomime." It's interesting. That's kind of a boring rest of the quote. Like, I hate when people are just like, capes are stupid, tights are stupid. It's like...
Yeah, that's a very, like, what someone wouldn't like about superhero movies in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's not really commenting on the, like, monopoly they have on the box office.
Well, there's also, like, because occasionally you get actors who are like, I would never, fuck, I'm never going to do tights and shit. And it's just like...
Fuck!
Like, to me, like, that's just, say they're destroying cinema. Don't just, like, have your masculinity offended by the fact you might have to wear
homophobic.
Yeah, exactly. So this one's actually a reasonably recent quote. Who said, "There's always a place for them. They're always inspirational. As a little kid, those were the things I loved. Going to see big movies, sit in outer space, and take it in and escape from where we are. I hope they continue."
Gonna go left of field here. I'm gonna say Greta Gerwig.
That's a good guess, yeah. This is a quote from the red carpet of Taika Waititi's new film. And that's from Taika Waititi. And so being asked about superhero fatigue, etc., which we'll talk a bit more about later on. But so it sort of said, he said he got a little bit fatigued from working in a big machine. So that's why he did a smaller film, and he's going to do another smaller film next as well. But says, I still enjoy superhero movies. But yeah, it's interesting to get a more positive one on.
Yeah, it still feels very gun to the back of his head.
Well, yeah, because he's still signed on to do a Star Wars film. Which he says is going to piss people off.
Because it's racist.
Yeah. But it's like the thing is that, like, Taika Waititi 5-6 years ago being like, yeah, my Star Wars film's probably going to piss some people off, is like, oh man, those Star Wars edgelords need like a, kick in the pants. Like, yes, please bring your Taika Waititi flavor. And now it's like, yeah, of course it's probably going to piss people off. It's a Taika Waititi film.
I want to pivot slightly to talk about Taika Waititi. Maybe this is a topic for a different podcast or something like that. But I feel like, so I've heard Next Goal Wins is not very good.
Yeah.
That's the word on the street. And I wonder if, because his star it's not falling. He's still going to get work for the rest of his life.
I think not necessarily his star, but like the public worship of him is falling. Yeah.
And I wonder, do you reckon in 20, 30 years, we will see Taika Waititi's career as being like good until Jojo Rabbit? Or do you think we will forget about this period he's in and he's actually going to like find himself again? I reckon that's going to happen. And I reckon this like vitriol against him is actually the temporary shift and not the new status quo.
I think, he just like... For that to happen, I think he maybe just needs to go away for a little bit. That it's like, it's oversaturation. And also, not only oversaturation of Taika Waititi, but like people trying to emulate his style as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like...
Did Taika Waititi kill cinema, Richard?
Are we getting Taika Waititi fatigue?
Taika Waititi fatigue?
So here's another quote. Naturally, Marvel and DC Comics and Star Wars have pretty much taken over. It's ruining our industry a little bit because nobody does anything original anymore.
I'm going to say that is David Fincher.
Good guess, but that is Roland Emmerich.
Oh, that's right. What a fucking dipshit. What a funny thing for Roland Emmerich to say. Because here's the thing, Roland. Your movies are not only exactly the same thing as Marvel, they're worse than Marvel. Roland Emmerich has never made a movie better than Ant-Man 3. Have you seen Moonfall?
No.
Jesus Christ.
Did he do Geostorm? I think I saw that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Do you know what the most horrible thing about Moonfall is?
Oh, you've told me. I can't remember what it is.
It relentlessly praises Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And the most like cringe fucking way. It's got Sam from Game of Thrones in it, and there's this one part where he's just like, God, I love Elon. And it's like, Roland, the world doesn't think this way. This is not a ubiquitous opinion that you can just slip into a film and think no one's going to, like, everyone's going to be like, yeah, everyone loves Elon.
When did Moonfall come out?
I want to say 2022.
Oh, 2022. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That was last year. Holy shit. Yeah, feels like a lifetime ago. But yeah, I would say like that perception of Elon Musk was true, but like 8-9 years ago now. Like, there was the Simpsons episode where he plays himself and it's just praising him, which is one of the worst episodes of The Simpsons. It's very cringy, but it's like, that was sort of reflective of the public perception of Elon Musk at the time.
Do you think in 20, 30 years, we will look back and see, like, Elon Musk stopped being good after he bought Twitter, or do you think we will turn around and just see this as a dark patch?
Yeah, the Cybertruck is actually going to change everything.
I heard recently that all the big advertisers are ditching Twitter because Elon Musk is just like
Blatantly anti-Semitic.
Yeah, just being openly like anti-Semitic and shit on Twitter.
Yeah. So this is not a filmmaker, but this is an actor. Says, I feel kind of like ridiculous saying no when it hasn't been asked, but it's not something that I am pining to do. I don't know if I would have the patience required. I think sometimes you have to make a decision to let other projects go for 5, 10, 15 years, and that would be really sad.
I think this is a pre-Joker Joaquin Phoenix.
No, that would be good. This is current like either fan cast or rumor for the Human Torch, Paul Mescal.
Ah, nice. My celebrity male crush.
Yeah, so I put him in there for you. I've got a couple more. These last two, both good quotes. This one is, the best films are driven by the characters, and we'll come to superheroes after this if you want, because I'll crush it. I'll fucking crush it. They're fucking boring as shit.
Yes! Is that still saying that they would do one?
No, it's like unprompted being like, we'll come back round to superhero movies, I'll fucking crush them.
Right. I thought he's saying like, they are so boring, I would ace it.
Yeah.
So that's an actor?
No, this one's a filmmaker again.
A filmmaker? Okay, let's go. Let's go. Wes Anderson.
No, this was Ridley Scott.
Nice, there you go.
Yeah. And the last one, you probably won't get the director of this, but this is the most sort of inflammatory quote I could find. Who's the filmmaker said, it's like the question, did Hitler create Nazi Germany, or did Nazi Germany create Hitler? Do you think the Marvel movies are turning the Americans stupid, or is the whole of America turning so stupid that they need such stupid movies to represent their minds?
Wow. I'm blown away by how accurate that is. What an incredible quote. Is that Yui Bowl? Who is that?
That's Gaspar Noé.
Oh, Gus? Yeah, I know who he is. Yep. Yeah, totally. And that's
But it's also
it,
just
right?
like bringing up Hitler as like
insane.
Yeah.
Insane. No, it's such a attacking the source of the problem is all all this shit is cyclical. It's not even just in Hollywood, it's in politics that climates beget dictators and they thrive because of the climate that created them. It's the same thing. Yeah, no, that's such a good question. Like, are we stuck in like a death cycle of superhero movies? Because what would you say, when would you say superhero movies started to become like a massive genre? Like you get one a week kind of.
I would probably say 2012 with the Avengers.
2012? With the Avengers. So that is 11 years, and I would say there's not really any signs of it slowing down. There's signs of it falling off, but not slowing. Stuff is already like actively in production for at least the next, let's say, 4 to 5 years, right? So that gives us a 16-year at least timeline for this subgenre.
Do you think, though, in like 20 to 30 years, we're going to look back and see this is like...
Yes, absolutely.
I will say the thing that I think, to use the 20 or 30 years argument, is I think that, maybe sooner than that, in 10 years or so, I think we're probably going to look back at 2023 as quite a pivotal year in film. And I think not only, obviously, we had the 2 big strikes, but then also that there was like a lot of these surefire hits this year have flopped. Like things like Indiana Jones 5 being one of the classic examples. And it's just after years and years of just shoveling shit into our mouths and us being hungry for more, we've actually gone, no, not really interested. And then you look at the highest grossing films of the year. I mean, they're not necessarily the actual highest, but like Barbie and Oppenheimer and the whole thing around that. I think that for the next little while, Hollywood is going to learn the wrong lessons from those films and be like, oh, we got to do counter programming, blah blah blah, all this shit.
Polly Pocket movie.
Yeah, exactly. But the fact that there is a big budget film about the inventor of the atomic bomb and it grossed almost $1 billion is insane. Like what a crazy sentence.
You reckon it bodes well for the future?
Well, I think that and it might be a few years before we actually see the proper ripple effects of it. But it's like this year, people got behind original films, like auteur-driven films, to an extent, and rejected, like Indiana Jones 5, Quantumania.
Yeah, no, totally. Because not only are those films the highest grossing of the year, so it's like we're saying, it's a hopeful sign that we're returning to the days where The Sixth Sense can be the second highest grossing movie of the year, right? Especially with something like Oppenheimer, which is what movies in the 70s and 80s, that's probably when I imagine movies like Oppenheimer were doing their best. But then you look at something like, you can go like, oh, well, Barbie, it's still like a symbol of a conglomerate. It's still this, it's still that. But it's like, yeah, but look at the influences of Barbie. It's fucking Singing in the Rain and The Red Shoes. Like, the Barbie being the highest grossing movie of all time is less
of the year.
Like, the right lesson to learn from this is not this post Lego movie meta comedy. It's actually like people yearn for the sets. People yearn for old Hollywood. And I wonder if the right lesson, and I'm sure this will get corrupted and people will get fatigued by it as well, but is the right call here to actually return to the ways of old? And
well, it's like the fact of Barbie and Oppenheimer as well. Like, part of the big success of those is that it's like these are both great directors that were given free reign to do, and it's like that
trusted.
Thing of,
they were trusted.
It's like you give. You make something that you want to watch. You tell jokes that you would laugh at, and it's like you give these directors just like such a pure vision of like how you want to tell the story that people are going to respond to that. But then when you have everyone else putting in and taking away things, that gets muddied, and it's like this is no one's vision, so no one, because it's not human, people can't respond to it.
So good. The directors, the people who are supposed to be trusted with the vision, are not being trusted with the vision, and instead it's studio heads and producers being trusted with the vision. And it's like, Kevin Feige's not a director. David Zaslav, not a director.
Well, not even a fucking businessman. He's just an idiot.
Like, this is what you know what I mean? Like, this is... We're not breaking new ground here, but it's cool to kind of dissect it and reach it in this conversation. That it's like, it's soulless cash grabbers who are the ones that are deciding story now. Fuck, that's spooky, isn't it? Yeah. Like, that's where we're at, is that it's the people who look at numbers on paper are deciding what story is now. And it's like, people don't want to see that, Kevin. Yeah. People don't want to see the same twist or the same formula repeated over and over. They want to see people who have unique perspectives on the world. And it's like Kevin Feige seems to get that somewhat. You know what I mean? Like it sucks that the Marvel down spiral is happening after Ike Perlmutter left, right? It sucks that the good period of Marvel is the period of Marvel where we got 20 films in a row starring straight white male superheroes before we got anything more diverse. And now that Kevin Feige is like in control, he's got the like enough of the like social awareness to hire directors of color or female directors to step in for a change. But I used to see that as a good thing, but maybe I'm starting to see it as a cynical thing. Maybe he's seeing it as less of a actual organic move to create a more diverse range of stories, and maybe he's actually just seeing it as like the brownie points he'll get for assigning a director, you know, like maybe like a black director, a movie.
A director who fits the demographic of the film.
Yeah, and then
it's like,
still controlling it.
Ow. Yeah, like hire a... I mean, Destin Daniel Cretton just today stepped down from directing Kang Dynasty, but that was going to be
Crazy.
massive
news.
One of the first, like, people of color, or not a straight white man who was going to direct a film not about a straight white man. But the weirdly talking about the thing about like the producers in Hollywood, that like weirdly I think that A24 doesn't as much have like a head that's making these decisions but like Jason Blum from Blumhouse is like, for Blumhouse makes some weird and terrible movies, but like because he, in a similar way to like Kevin Feige, he is the sort of head of that, and or David Zaslav is to Warner Brothers, but it's like, yeah, he seems to be someone that actually is prioritizing story and giving, and especially in that like ever shrinking mid-budget film market, which also A24 plays on, that even though Blumhouse isn't necessarily like the bastion of quality, I think that they are quite a good and
totally.
And it's like, we should get more Blumhouses in the future.
And you know who I think is the wolf in sheep's clothing here, the beautiful Satan that we're all trusting, but is actually going to be just as bad as everyone else?
Who?
James Gunn.
Yeah.
James Gunn has the like respect of nerds because he's made some good superhero movies. I do not think his reboot of DC is, I think, best case scenario, then gonna be nothing, nothing out of the ordinary. I think like, I think I've said this on the podcast before. He was like, The Flash is my favorite movie of 2023 before it came out. I have not seen The Flash, so feel free to chew me out for that. But I have seen the scene from The Flash that looks like the embodiment of
the death of
cinema being murdered. Right? Yeah. And if you can see that and say, this is the best movie of the year, even if he's lying, even if he's placating for the studio to try and sell the movie, if he thought The Flash was bad, if I was James Gunn and I thought The Flash was bad, I would have refused. I would have said, no, you're wanting people to trust me with the future of DC. The only way to do that is to
let me say The Flash is bad.
Don't ask me about it, Yeah. And I'm actually not, I don't really like James Gunn movies that much. I think he's kind of overrated. But like, regardless, it's like, he was like, people don't have superhero fatigue. They're sick of seeing the same thing. And then I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and I was like, all right, this didn't move me. This felt like more or less the same thing. Like, I'm not convinced by him at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, talking of James Gunn, obviously, there's this new slate at DC announced, but we've also got, the Sony universe coming up. There's, like I mentioned, The Boys, Invincible, yada yada. Then it's like,
oh my god, the Sony universe. These movies look like the worst.
We will come to them. But
oh my god,
yeah, there is a lot of even non-Marvel superhero projects coming up. So I've got 10 questions for you about upcoming projects.
That's right, it's a quiz.
And just talk about, we're going to be talking about, do we think that these lead to superhero fatigue? So your first question is, which band has an album which is the same name as the subtitle for the Joker sequel?
Incubus.
No, would you know the Joker subtitle?
Folie à Dieu.
Yeah, so that was the name of Fall Out Boy's last album before they went on hiatus for a while. Some good songs on that album.
They get cancelled, Fall Out Boy?
No, you might be thinking Panic at the Disco.
I was thinking Panic at the Disco.
Yeah. I think he was...
I'm getting cancelled musician fatigue.
Because Panic at the Disco, by the end of the last 2 or 3 albums, was just Brendan Urie. And I think he was one of the Me Too era people that was like, yeah, you know what? I've done some bad shit and I'm going to do better. And people, didn't ask, but okay.
Yeah. I'm going to do better. And everyone's like, no, you aren't. We want you out of the spotlight for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Well, he just disappeared and then I think dropped one album and was like, I'm out.
Right.
So, you excited for the Joker sequel, AJ?
Kind of. Like, of all... It's funny, isn't it? Because, like, the Joker always felt like it was, like... First Joker felt like it was skirting the line of this superhero fatigue. It had Scorsese was an EP on it, and it was like, well, if you said that, then blah, blah, blah.
He wasn't an EP by the time the film came out, but he was originally going to be, I believe.
Oh, shit. Wow. I don't like Todd Phillips. I think from what the comments I've heard him make, I don't think he's a very good person.
Yeah.
And I think Joker, all these years later, now that I can, comment on the movie without worrying that it's going to inspire without worrying that it's going to inspire a mass shooting, I can say that I think Joker is an example of a movie where everything is like 10 out of 10 except the director. I think the director's like a 2 out of 10. Like the direction on that movie is insane. It's aimless, it's immature, it's childish, but the acting is so good. The cinematography is gorgeous. The music, the score's so good. Joker,
just for people that might not be as into filmmaking and stuff, that like, how can you say that everything is 10 out of 10, but the directing is bad?
Because the story and I'm not just talking about the script, because directing is also like turning everything's attention toward your central idea. And
tone is one of the big things as well.
Tone as well. So if your movie is about how crime doesn't pay, if that's your theme, this is a very simplistic illustration of what I'm trying to say. Yeah. If your movie is about how crime doesn't pay, you need every cosmic decision in that movie to agree with the theme, right? You would have things like, for example, you would see microcosms of that theme play out through the movie. You would see, et cetera, et cetera. Like you are answering a question with a film. That's what a director's doing. And the Joker, I'm not sure what it's asking. I'm not sure what it's saying exactly. But it just feels very ham-fisted. It feels very guy who didn't know anything about mental health thinking, yeah, I could make a movie about mental health. Like it feels like a very immature and kind of dangerous way to discuss certain subjects. In this Ridley Scott interview that I've just edited, he says he feels that Joker, it's real. I don't know why Letterboxd was like, yeah, put this in, because I was like, this kind of feels like something we shouldn't put in. But Ridley Scott says like, he's like, I talked to Joaquin, because he's playing Napoleon. I talked to Joaquin about Joker. It's so spectacular, so amazing. I do think that it kind of condones violence, which I don't like. And I told Joaquin that, and he didn't like that. So what it is Todd Phillips is not an intelligent enough man to say a big, profound statement on the society depicted in Joker. Whereas someone like Martin Scorsese, with which Joker is indebted to, it's essentially like a remake of half a dozen
of
Scorsese
King of Comedy
films.
Specifically, yeah, which is
or
fucking
Taxi
great
Driver
film.
as well. Haven't seen King of Comedy. It's. I'm going to watch it very soon though.
It's slept on.
Yeah.
Which is the Scorsese TikTok.
According to Scorsese, yeah. It's like Scorsese can answer these questions. You watch Killers of the Flower Moon, and it's this hard gripping, like depressing statement on America, and it's like, yeah, I understand more or less what Scorsese's saying about it. Same thing for Irishman, same thing for Wolf of Wall Street, same thing for the handful of other Scorsese movies I've actually seen. you know what I mean? Like, so that's what I mean when I say it's a bad director, is that it's not saying, it's the acting, the cinematography, and the score smarter than the person telling the story, basically. What was this? Why was it? Oh, am I excited for Joker Folie à Deux? Yeah, because they said it's a musical, and I think that sounds bananas. And I think Lady Gaga's a fun actress, and I think she's a pretty good cast for Harley Quinn.
Yeah, it's also like a serious musical is like a fun concept.
I think they should let Todd Phillips go and let someone else take it over.
Scorsese.
Yeah. No, I mean, you could...
He's like, I said I didn't like superhero movies. I didn't say anything about supervillain movies.
Supervillain movies? What about someone like Emerald Fennell? Or, like, get one of these new, like... I would prefer a female voice directing a Joker. I think that would be super interesting, right? And see what that looks like. And I don't know. I'm just chatting shit now. What's the question?
So next one, this is actually a project that's fallen over, but was supposed to come out in 2 months, and there was just no updates. And then until like a month ago, it was like, yeah, still going to come out in January. But how many individual comic issues does El Muerto appear in? Who was supposed to be played by Bad Bunny?
2 or 3?
12 individual issues, but like 2 series. Yeah, like 2 appearances. Yeah. It's weird. But yeah, like literally just Bad Bunny was like, I want to play a character. And they were like, cool. And I guess they just went like, opened up all the Spider-Man comics, Control F Mexican. This is the one that came up. He's a Mexican wrestler. But yeah, due to Bad Bunny's like touring schedule, the film seems to have fallen over. It was taken off the release schedule.
Here's the thing, though. Here's something I'm not. Here's a hot take on the El Muerto movie. Is that actually a better route to go than
you're not tied
Madam
to anything,
Web or Craven? Because you can say, oh, he only appears in 12 issues of Spider-Man. It's like, yeah, okay. Captain Jack Sparrow never appeared in anything before Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, like that's as close to a unique idea. And brilliant ideas come from like piggybacking off a small reference in something the time. You know? I don't know. I think
geez, Pirates of the Caribbean, like the whole zombie pirate thing comes from just one line at the start of the ride.
Yeah, there you go. What's the line?
The dead men tell no tales. And it kind of looks like a skeleton is saying it. And they were like, fuck, what if a skeleton could talk?
That'd be a good movie. What if a skeleton to talk? Yeah. So, like, in that sense, I'm saying, like, I don't know enough about Bad Bunny's acting chops.
He was
or
in
even anything about
Bullet Train. His character was quite fun, from memory.
No. So, yeah. I'm just saying, I don't think it's as much of a write-off as people seem to...
Yeah.
I mean, actually, no, because it's Sony making it. So yes, it is a write-off.
Yeah, exactly.
But if it wasn't, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with that.
Yeah. Do you know the villain Kite Man?
Maybe.
It's like a Batman, one of the,
Silver Age.
Yeah. There's a Kite Man animated series coming out soon. And it's got a subtitle. It's called Kite Man subtitle. What is the subtitle of that series?
The Adventures of Kite Man.
So you think it's called Kite Man, The Adventures of Kite Man.
I think that'd be funny.
Yeah, that is funny. It's called Kite Man. Hell yeah.
Okay. I mean, this sounds... I don't know anything about this, but it sounds like another The Boys, Invincible,
yeah.
Deadpool
apparently, I haven't watched it, and I don't really know much about it, but my adventures
the Harley Quinn show?
But My Adventures with Superman is apparently really good.
I just don't care enough to watch any of this shit anymore, Richard. I'm sick of it, you know?
Well, will you be watching the Themyscira political drama, which is set before the birth of Wonder Woman? And can you tell me the title of that?
Wonder Woman.
With a Y.
That's what I'd call it. That's with a Y?
Well, like, when you like women and they spell it with a Y instead of an E, so it like doesn't contain the word men.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Well, anyway, I would call it Wonder Woman, and the studio would be like, AJ, you can't call it that.
AJ, get out.
I would threaten to walk if I couldn't call it Wonder Woman.
It's called Paradise Lost.
Yeah. This is the same problem you get with like... Okay, we're putting this in a category of superhero cape shit, right? That's like... I'd put Gotham in there. I'd put anything that's like a TV show or movie where they don't have the titular character and they're trying to flesh out the world. And here's the thing about that. It's stupid because Alfred, the origins of Batman's butler, right?
Which was a prequel to V for Vendetta.
Yeah. Well, that's probably one of the more interesting things about it, right? But it's like, what does this mean? You know? Like, if it's a prequel about Alfred, who I know nothing about, and Batman's not in it, you could change his name.
Yeah, why does it
need
to be?
An original, yeah. And same with Gotham. If it's before Batman became Batman, it's like, okay.
Yeah, I guess it's just like that. Like, it's literally just name recognition.
Totally. But who is watching Wonder Woman and going, fuck, I want to know about the
Fuck, I want a political drama.
Yeah. About Themyscira, you know?
Which upcoming project is to be directed by one of the minds behind Homestar Runner?
Earthworm Jim, the live action.
No, Craig Zobel is directing the first episode of The Penguin series on HBO Max.
Penguin.
Yeah.
Didn't even know that was coming out. Is that related to Gotham, or are we just casting another Penguin?
No, this is with Colin Farrell.
Oh, I am interested in that show. I beg your pardon. I'm interested in... Okay, so that is in that same category of this, like, outskirts of the IP, right?
Yeah.
But the difference here is Colin Farrell's Penguin has been proven to me as an engaging performance. I thought he was the best part of the Batman.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, when you
Right,
see the upcoming slate of DC films, whoa, what are you showing me that for?
Yeah, so we've found a corner of the Cape shit that I'm still somewhat invested in.
Yeah.
But even then, I could see myself watching the first episode and being like, oh, yeah, cool, and then not picking it up again.
But yeah, Craig Zobel has he created Homestar Runner with Mike and Matt Chapman, the brothers Chaps, and then went on to direct like The Leftovers, Compliance, Z for Zachariah, The Hunt recently, and one of his biggest sort of things was Mayor of Easttown, the Kate Winslet show.
Nice.
So one of the other shows you mentioned before that's coming up or one of the other movies, sorry, Kraven the Hunter. Which...
God, I thought you were going to say Earthworm Jim, and I was going to be like, Richard, I made that up. I just thought of an obscure superhero.
But yeah, there was one of the sort of the most well-regarded Kraven the Hunter comic was Kraven's Last Hunt, which came out in 1987 and is adapted quite often, or like, you know, taken whenever Kraven appears and things. But after that, in 1987, when did Kraven next appear in The Amazing Spider-Man?
After 1987?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take a wild guess. Is this a crazy answer?
Not necessarily that crazy.
Okay. My crazy answer was going to be he's never appeared again.
Nice, yeah. 2009 was the next appearance. So they actually genuinely retired the character for quite a while. That was like this really well-regarded storyline.
Really was his last hunt.
Yeah, with that it was like where he dies, and then they actually wrote the character out for like 2 decades.
Interesting. Okay, so I want to talk about Spumka or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I do have a question. One other question, and then you can talk about both. So, what is notable about Ezekiel Sims?
Is this the villain in Madam Web?
Yeah. So what's notable about him?
He can't see the future. Madam Web can see the future. Oh, he was working with Madam Web's mother in the Amazon when she was researching spiders just before she died.
That is correct, yeah. Yeah, so the upcoming Sumka slate. What do you have to say about it?
This looks dark, right?
Yeah.
This is the non-winter insulated home of the superhero. Do you know what I mean? We get Venom, right? That's the first one in this sub-universe. And everyone's like, that wasn't very good. But it makes $1 trillion somehow, right? So there's enough incentive to keep going. Venom 2 came out next?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's fine. Everyone's like, all right, I'm kind of getting a gauge for the ability of the writers of the Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters, right? Then Morbius comes out, and it's the most embarrassing blockbuster of our lifetimes, right?
Well, I would say Doolittle still.
Up there. Doolittle, fuck! No,
we watched that in January of 2020, and we were both like, this is legitimately probably the worst film of the decade.
But Morbius, like a total shat its pants in front of everyone movie, right?
Yeah.
And then they did the whole, it became a meme. Jared Leto tried to get in on it, and then Sony were like, put it back in cinemas quickly, we'll cash in on everyone talking about it. And it flopped again.
I do have a question about that because they re-released it, yeah.
They re-released it. It flopped twice, Richard.
Yeah.
Is it the only movie in history to flop twice?
Who is the credited writer of Morbius 2? It's Morbin Time.
Tim Allen.
No, Bartholomew Cubbins as from the Dr. Seuss character from the 500 Hats of Bartholomew Cubbins, which is a alias that Jared Leto uses from time to time.
Right, because he released that video of him.
Yeah, pretending to read a script for its Morbin time.
God, what a dick!
But also just with like these soulless dead eyes.
Yeah.
See when he climbed the Empire State Building the other day?
So, anyway, that movie, I feel like the writing was on the wall right from the start, like when the first trailer for Morbius dropped. And it's just...
When Morbius was announced.
Yeah. And that movie comes out and everyone's like, this feels like it should have come out in 2003. Like, this feels like Elektra.
Yeah.
Like, that's the grade of movie it is. And I was like, okay, maybe this has shaken up the industry enough for Sony that they can be like, let's be a little bit more careful about how we're going to piggyback off the MCU and what exactly we're going to do here, right? Then the trailer for Kraven comes out, and then the trailer for Madam Web comes out. And I don't know what you think of these trailers, Richard. I think they look worse than Morbius.
I didn't finish the trailer for Kraven the Hunter, and then I didn't finish the one for Madam Web, but then the memes started going, so like, I have to watch the whole thing. And now I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, these movies...
But we're getting 4 Sumka movies next year, or 3. We've got Kraven, so Madam Web, and maybe it's just the 3, and then we're only getting one Marvel movie. Who's
directing Venom 3? Is it Circus again?
No, it's a woman making her directorial debut, Terry someone. She wrote 50 Shades of Grey and Venom Let There Be Carnage. The
Wikipedia page for this is called Untitled Venom Let There Be Carnage sequel.
Yeah, it doesn't have a title yet, and that's what it is.
No, I know, but it should say Untitled
Third Venom film.
Venom 3.
Yeah.
Like, that's so weird. Richard, this is going to get edited in the next 24 hours, I reckon. This is not the kind of, like, shit that Wikipedia editors let fly for particularly long, you know?
Yeah.
So
what's the director's name, sorry? Have you got it open?
Kelly Marcel.
Kelly, not Terry.
Yeah. So, look, these movies look so bad, and I'm so shocked at how persistent this little universe is trying to be.
I was kind of like interested going on the page, like researching this. They now call it Sony's Spider-Man universe. That it's like, technically, the Spider-Verse films are kind of part of this, or like tangentially. And it's kind of like, I said this to you the other day, that it's like, if Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter and Morbius are the price we have to pay to get this perfect Spider-Verse trilogy, I can live with that. But like, you go on the page for Sony's Spider-Man universe, and it blew my mind to realize, there's only been 3 that actually came out, because there was like a 6-month period where like every other day there was a new one announced. And it's like Olivia Wilde's directing one. There's like a Silk or Spider Society. There's like a Spider-Man Noir one. There's Hypno Hustler with Donald Glover. There was El Muerto. It was crazy. And you go on the page, there's still all these things that are like announced or at some stage of development, that it's crazy to think only 3 have actually eventuated, presumably leading to some kind of Sinister Six film, which was the teased at the end of Morbius. But yeah, fuck.
Do you know what's great as well? You look on like the MCU, even now in phase 4 and 5, you look at the directors that pop up, right? You got Sam Raimi, Taika Waititi, Chloe Zhao, Richard. You've got Nia DaCosta. You know, you've got all these either famous or like respected in the industry, right? Now let's look at the Sony Spider-Man universe director slate. You start off Ruben Fleischer. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, he's a gun for hire. He can get a job done.
Andy Serkis. Oh, interesting. Oh, what an interesting pull there. Daniel Espinosa for Morbius. I'm not familiar with his work. And then we can go S.J. Clarkson directing Madam Web. Who's like, okay. Kraven the Hunter. J.C. Chandor. Have you heard that name in your life, Richard? And now Kelly Marcel for Venom 3, who is the most exciting name on this list, is Kelly Marcel, I think. That's so funny. It's so funny. It's such an imitation, you know.
So I mentioned them earlier, but Blumhouse is set to reboot a superhero franchise, which actually featured the first black superhero in a major motion picture. What is that film?
Spawn?
Yeah, it's Spawn, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, cool.
Never actually seen Spawn, don't know a lot about the character, but it's one that, who is it, Todd? Someone's Spawn? Everyone loves.
Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane Spawn, yeah.
From what I understand, Spawn is a similar movie to, like, Billy Zane's The Phantom. Like,
Yeah,
it's
right.
kind of like that level of quality.
Yeah, or like The Tick.
Yeah.
Final question for this round. There are currently 5 films on the slate for the DCU Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters.
Oh my god.
Can you name
Gives me
those 5 films?
Fucking migraine hearing that. Superman Legacy?
Correct, that's going to be the first one. Written and directed by James Gunn.
Creature Commando?
That's a TV show, I believe.
That's a TV show. I don't think I know any of the other ones after Superman Legacy.
Yeah, so
Are they guessable? Suicide Squad 2? Something like that?
Nah, there's The Authority.
Nobody's gonna go fucking see that movie.
Yeah, the Brave and the Bold, which is his Batman one. I believe Andy Muschietti is directing that, who did It and The Flash. And yeah, it's going to be a Batman and Robin, unconventional family sort of thing. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and Swamp Thing, which James Mangold is directing. And I think Swamp Thing's like, it's kind of like a do this when you get to it. Like we'll leave Swamp Thing for you.
I reckon you wanna bet some money it won't come out.
No,
I don't think Swamp Thing's coming out.
Yeah.
I think
because James Mangold's got his Star Wars film as well.
But I reckon it's this or his Star Wars film.
Yeah,
I don't think
both.
he's going to get to both. Yeah,
totally. So yeah, like to answer the question, do you think superhero fatigue is a real thing? James Gunn, his rebuttal to that, which you sort of mentioned, was like people are getting tired of the same stories. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think that superhero fatigue is real?
Yeah, I think that it is real, and I think it's not like to say people are getting tired of the same stories is like, yeah, and the story parameters that a superhero movie needs is the problem. That is the story. Like, he's trying to pretend like it's not, but it is I'm sick of pretending like it's normal that people would dress up like this and fight crime. I'm sick of pretending like I'm sick of suspending my disbelief when someone is involved in some event that gives them superpowers only to discover that someone else also got superpowers but they're evil. You know, yeah, they are the same stories, James Gunn, and you've told 3 of them. You know? It's so maybe I'm growing up, you know? Maybe I'm getting too old for them. And that's fine, whatever. But I am just I want to see different stories. You think about someone like Jordan Peele, you know?
Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson, even.
Let's get some new voices. Ones that sound like Kermit the Frog.
And let's get Kermit the Frog. Let's get new Muppets movies.
Yeah.
People don't have Muppet fatigue, Richard. They're just sick of seeing the same
People have
stories.
Muppet withdrawal.
Yeah.
People
don't have Peanuts fatigue, Richard. They're just sick of seeing Lucy lift up the football when Charlie Brown goes to kick.
That's a good analogy.
That's what he's saying, though. You know, essentially. But it's the thing with Peanuts is you cannot tell a story about that. But for something to be a superhero movie, by definition, it has to conform to a certain list of tropes. And I think, I'm sorry, James Gunn, those tropes are what people are sick of.
Do you think that there are has there been anything in recent memory for you that's technically a superhero movie but doesn't fall into those tropes? I mean, Joker, kind of, to be honest.
Yeah, but I didn't like Joker. But I didn't like Joker because I'm a feminist, not because I hate superhero movies. No, I think I'm certainly not anti-blockbuster. Can I say that?
No, you can't say that.
I'm kind of ashamed of this because I kind of don't want it to be that way. But John Wick Chapter 4 is currently my favorite movie of the year.
Wow.
I don't want it to stay there.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest with my emotional reaction to each film. In second place is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which, if I'd watched a version which had a sound mix that I could understand, I probably would have ranked that first.
That's right.
So to answer your question,
issue,
to answer your question, it's probably Spider-Man Across, or
Yeah.
I think I prefer Into to Across.
Yeah.
But
It's just a more complete film.
It's a more complete film, and also, as much as they tried to pretend it was something else, showing clips from other film universes in the Spider-Verse section, I was like, I'm sorry, but this is taking away some of the perfection of this franchise for me. Because there's no difference. Like, I think they wanted to try and act like there was something special about it, but seeing like that hastily cropped out image of Andrew Garfield crying from one of the Amazing Spider-Man movies, that is no different than Nicolas Cage appearing in The Flash, I don't think.
Right,
it's just in a better movie.
Did you see the interview with Nicolas Cage where he was talking about his appearance
How
in
he
The
didn't
Flash?
even know about it?
No, that's not technically true. So he went in and he actually filmed for that scene. They put the dots on his face and he did all this stuff. And because what's happening in that moment is that like the multiverse is collapsing and all these worlds are being destroyed. And he got told, he said it was half a day, that he got told what was happening. He was watching the world be destroyed and to just stand there and put that look on his face. And he did that. They captured it, put it in the film. And then he saw the film and he was fighting this giant robot spider. And I don't even know if it's actually a robot spider, giant spider. And
the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, but yeah, it's interesting that, and so he was, a bit pissed off about that, which is interesting.
So to answer your question, I would say Spider-Man Into / Across the Spider-Verse are still movies I am invested in, but that is far less to do with their plots and more to do with their writing and their animation and their voice acting. Like, those movies are the only movies I can think of, really, that happen to be superhero movies, but I think are achieving a lot
are good
more.
Enough movies in spite of that.
Yeah.
The other thing that, like, a lot of people talk about is that superheroes are just the westerns of today. And
Totally.
like Kevin Feige has spoken about this, that it's like there was 40 years of westerns, and
was there 40 years of them? I guess I'm eating my words now, saying like that 12 years was a long time for a subgenre to
but also
exist.
like westerns were never really the biggest films, and like that's kind of the difference. Is
Right.
that like we look back now and like a lot of westerns have survived, but it was like there was just like a new western every week, like we say about superhero movies. But and then it's a genre that died out, but you still occasionally get a western or like something inspired by western. And I mean, like, I don't know, it's an easy argument to shut people up when they criticize superhero movies, but I don't think it necessarily holds that much weight.
I think that superhero movies require a lot more specificity than westerns.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of westerns are just called that after the fact. Oh, that's a western because it takes place in a desert. Westerns also presumably, comparatively, very cheap to make.
Yeah.
They also aren't peddling subtle right-wing propaganda. They probably were, actually. They probably were. But it's still they weren't like a symptom of like late stage capitalism. They weren't a symptom of like an industry. There was still passion going into them, and they weren't franchises most of the times. Like name a classic Western franchise. You name The Man with No Name, right? Which wants you so bad to not realize it's a franchise, seemingly.
Magnificent Seven,
which is boring. And everyone forgot about it.
I think a lot of westerns were boring. Yeah. Right. So now, shifting gears, we're going to be talking like specifically about Marvel, and I think there's like the post-Endgame, Marvel has really struggled, and part of that is COVID, and we will talk about that as well. But I've got, again, remember this is a quiz, I've got 10 questions here, each one sort of relating to a different thing that people blame for Marvel falling off. And so we can talk about, like, does Marvel have a post-Endgame problem, and what is the cause of that? And maybe I think we might find out it's actually a little bit of all of these things. So
maybe the answer is the most inoffensive and boring one. It's everything. We're not going to commit to one single killer of cinema.
So one that, to start off with a bit of a bummer, one that I think that sucks to put a lot of the blame on, but I think part of the, Marvel falling off or feeling unfocused, especially in Phase 4, is the death of Chadwick Boseman, that it seems like
100%, yeah.
Black Panther was going to be the new face of the franchise. The first film did so fucking well, better than anyone could have anticipated, and then, the way he sort of leads a lot of Infinity War, and he's the first one to come back out of the portal in Endgame, that it seems like, they were putting a lot of hope on Chadwick Boseman. He passed away, but I do have a question for you. So he won a Primetime Emmy Award in 2022 for his performance for outstanding character voiceover performance for his performance in What If T'Challa Became a Star-Lord. But there was actually one other posthumous nominee in that category. Can you tell me who that was?
What was the category again?
Outstanding character voiceover performance.
Ray Liotta. No, he wasn't dead yet.
It was Jessica Walter in Archer, who was nominated posthumously 2 years in a row. There was a second nomination.
Wow.
So nominated in 2021 and 2022. Yeah, what do you think about the loss of Chadwick Boseman?
Jessica Walter, love her.
Yeah.
It was really interesting when that happened. I'm trying to speak sensitively, and I'll just apologize in advance if I say anything that's maybe a little callous, because I remember at the time Chadwick Boseman died, and it was like everyone was like, holy shit, and then 5 minutes pass and every nerd on the planet thought to themselves, what are they going to do about Black Panther 2 now? Like no one was saying it, but that's
a lot of people were saying it, to be fair.
Yeah, sure. But like the podcasts of the world, the movie podcasts of the world were like, listen, it's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
Let's not do an episode now on what should Black Panther 2 be. But yeah, I think it's a massive part of it, and I think what's funny as well is I don't know how much of this was like publicly seen by the mainstream, but what's her name from Black Panther?
Oh, Letitia
Wright. Letitia Wright's like anti-vax bullshit. Like, I wonder how much that contributed at least to people not seeing Black Panther 2. Because they were like, it got to the point where Black Panther 2 was like, what the fuck is this movie even going to be? Your main star has died, and the obvious backup is probably going to be fired by Marvel any moment now. And I reckon that it's really interesting, I guess, putting it in the hands of her and being like, this one woman with loopy opinions had like devastating consequences for an already shaky ground. I saw one comment on Twitter when Boseman died that was like, recast him. Like, you recast, like if this was a white actor, you'd recast him.
Look at Thunderbolt Ross was recast almost immediately with Harrison Ford.
There you go.
But it's obviously a much less important character.
Totally, but here is okay. This is something I thought about the other day, and I think I've said it before, is that there was a time in cinema, and even in superhero movies, where you could recast. You could recast the main character, and the movie would still do well. Look at Batman. Look at
like Jack Ryan and shit. Like,
yeah. Like, you can do that, and people were willing to forgive it. And Marvel did something that I bet their editorial team, their story team, deeply regret, which is they canonized recasting. They made recasting mean something canonically in their story. So now, like back in Iron Man 2, you just get Don Cheadle in and he's replaced Terrence Howard. No one's going to ask any questions. It's a movie. They're playing a character. But then they started to go, actually, if a different actor is playing a character that actually means something in the wider multiverse.
Right? You're talking about like No Way Home.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And, Loki does it as well. Like, all sorts of things are doing it. And then Chadwick Boseman died, and then we had another big controversy. Well, I guess a death isn't a controversy, but then Jonathan Majors, you know. And that is an even more crucial character in terms of like plotting.
They've named a film after him already.
They've named a film after him, and they've established this guy looks like this in every universe. You know, like they made him. There could not be a worse character in the series for the actor to be cancelled than Jonathan Majors as Kang, I reckon, because it's too contextual now. And so that's what I'm saying about Chadwick Boseman as well, is that it's like there's this reverence to Chadwick Boseman for all Black Panther, all the the wonderful things it did when it came out, and it's like I saw a tweet, and I think it was by like a African American like commentator who was like, recast him because that's the only way to like don't if you put this reverence on only Chadwick Boseman can be Black Panther, you're almost doing like the reverse problem of not like, having
the thing of like quote unquote reverse racism, where it's
reverse racism
which is not really not reverse racism isn't really a thing, but it's like what people talk about, that the idea that it's like giving special treatment because
and I don't know, what did you think of Black Panther 2?
I liked a lot of it. I think that I really like how seriously it took it, like that it wasn't like, oh, main star's dead, oh no, he's right behind me, isn't he? But yeah, and that it was like a solid 2 hours into the film before Shuri suits up as Black Panther 2. Yeah, but then it hasn't stuck with me, but I really liked it when I watched it.
Either.
But yeah.
It hasn't stuck with me either, and I also think that like there's I first saw this when John Ritter died, and that episode of 8 Simple Rules that was like, this was never supposed to be what 8 Simple Rules was about.
Yeah. Do you know, like I've made Scrubs my thing, as I've told you off pod, but Family Guy is no longer my thing. Scrubs was my thing. He was the day after he died, he was supposed to appear on Scrubs again, and so they like completely rewrote the episode and to become the one where Tom Cavanaugh shows up as his brother with the cake and says Dad died. That episode was written in like 24 hours, and they just called him like, can you get on a plane and do this?
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
and so I felt like them having to deal with T'Challa's death was so weird and such a like plotting wise, it's pretty crazy to like bring a character back from the snap and then just have him die off screen, right? And so I think if we're talking about pivotal moments that Marvel went down and we're saying Chadwick Boseman's death was something, I think the wrong decision was made in repairing that. I think they should have recast T'Challa.
Yeah, or just if you are going to have someone else suit up, then it's like maybe it would have been better to not do Black Panther 2 and have Shuri show up on something else as Black Panther. But then it's like, I guess, but then at the same time, it's like you want to... Because, like, it's actually, Ryan Coogler was very good friends with this guy, and, like, it's actually this little Black Panther family that wanted to appropriately grieve, and, they just happened to do it on a multi-million-dollar film.
Yeah, exactly, and that doesn't necessarily make a good film. I'm sure it can. I'm sure that experience
Matrix, what's Resurrection?
Resurrections, absolutely.
Although a lot of people hated that, but that was someone grieving on the big screen, and I really liked it.
Yeah. Like, I think there is room to work real life and public tragedy into your art.
Yeah, 8 Simple Rules.
But I like, such as 8 Simple Rules. Well, no, I'd say the Scrubs is a much less important character in Scrubs, but like the Scrubs episode is fine. The 8 Simple Rules thing is like, I don't really want to watch the sitcom anymore because the main character died and the characters had to pretend that the character he played... It just feels icky to me. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have anything more to say about Black Panther other than I agree that it's one of the first things that knocked them off their relatively pristine track record.
Yeah. The very hard decisions to have, like, to be made at Marvel, though. And I'm sure they would have talked to his family and everything, and Ryan Coogler as well would have been a big part of that. Ryan Coogler has sort of since come out and said what his original plan was, and that it was that it would be about T'Challa being gone for 5 years, his son grows up without him, and then this father-son story now from the perspective of the father, because in the first one, it's like, how does a son live without his father to guide him? And yeah, this one's now from the perspective of the father, having missed all these important years.
Sounds better.
Yeah, and I'm sure it would have been fantastic. But the thing about the Chadwick Boseman thing is obviously that, like, he died in 2020, which was, the height of COVID. And I think that the big COVID delays, like, at the time we were kind of like, oh, this is kind of the best thing for Marvel, that they can have Endgame, take a break for once, and then we can come back and, like, really get excited about it again. But due to COVID and things being in various stages of production, and not being able to go to cinemas, but being able to watch Disney Plus and whatnot, a lot of things were reshuffled. And I think that 2020, a few things happened. Chadwick Boseman dying is one of them. COVID's another one that was sort of big arrows in Marvel's knee. But can you tell me, AJ, what was the original first project of Phase 4, and then what actually was the first project of Phase 4 to be released?
Oh my god. The first project was WandaVision.
Yeah.
The first project was going to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
No, it was. You're right that those two did switch order, but before Falcon and the Winter Soldier was supposed to be Black Widow.
That's right. Yep, I remember that.
The other big thing that happened is that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was supposed to be before No Way Home. There was quite a few other, like, little bits and pieces, but those, like, that's the one that the story actually had to be rewritten because of it didn't make sense to. Yeah.
Nice. Interesting. Yeah. I think we've talked about this before. I think that Endgame should have been the end of Phase 3, but it was
Far From Home.
Far From Home.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty silly, and I never thought they justified that. So I'd actually say that being part of Phase 3. I reckon Far From Home coming out before the pandemic is the first slip up. I reckon if and it's so frustrating because that movie had been delayed 6 months, we would have had a legitimate breathing room for Endgame because it wouldn't have come out for another 2 years or whatever, right? And I also think then a lot of what became No Way Home would be a bit different as well. And I've grown very sour on No Way Home since seeing it, and. Like this, it's almost like clockwork. It's like Endgame was this big cathartic release and success, and then I feel like every single thing that came out after it, I was spotting problems in it. You know, like Far From Home, it's too early. It came out too soon, and there's a few other problems I have with the plotting. But then like something like WandaVision, we've talked about this and we don't need to necessarily go into it, but I wasn't particularly happy with a lot of WandaVision's direction. I was very unhappy with Falcon and the Winter Soldier's direction. I was and a big one was Black Widow coming out, and it's like, why the fuck is this coming out now? This should have come out after Civil War, like all of a sudden this meticulously designed franchise of 20-something at least pretty good movies was faltering every time they released something new. And I think that's really interesting. There was a time when I would have said there are no bad MCU movies. There are kind of boring ones, but none of them are ruining the overall story, unlike Star Wars, which I feel like certain Star Wars movies ruin the whole Star Wars experience. And now I'm like, no, there are absolutely bad MCU movies and shows, and they absolutely ruin what I want what was good about the story. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, that we had our first Rotten Tomatoes Marvel movie, which was Eternals.
A movie I quite liked.
Yeah, same. But AJ, can you name all 10 Eternals?
No. I'll just say no.
How many can you get through?
Jargus, Bontfo, Creek, Skreek, Minotaur, Zeus, Maverick, Pinocchio, Elvis, and Marcel the Shell with shoes on.
All right. Do you want to? Is there any of you actually legitimately remember?
I actually cannot remember. Druig?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, there you go.
What's his face's character?
Barry Corgan's character.
So there, you got Circe, Icarus, Kingo, Sprite, Fastos, Makari, Druig, Gilgamesh, Ajax, and Thena.
I reckon my joke names were not that unlike what their names
totally. But yeah, so there's Eternals, and I've got 3 questions about 3 critical flops, because it was like the first time we were getting like real critical flops. What is the name of the villain from Ant-Man who returns as MODOK in Quantumania?
Darren Cross?
That's correct, yeah.
I actually wish I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I thought you might remember it, but like wouldn't want to. Then yeah, so I think Eternals and Quantumania are the only 2 rotten rated. Thor Love and Thunder is like 63%, it's just above. But then the lowest rated thing in the MCU currently is Secret Invasion. And I know you haven't watched it. I made it through 2 episodes. But can you tell me who is not a Skrull in Secret Invasion? You got Everett Ross, which is Martin Freeman's character, James Rhodey Rhodes, or Maria Hill?
I don't think Everett Ross is a Skrull. Is it 2 of them aren't?
One
or
of
they
them.
all are?
Yeah. No, the opening scene of Secret Invasion is Everett Ross being shot and turning into a Skrull. Maria Hill is not a Skrull.
Wow! I think that is so stupid.
Yeah.
I think there are characters... The whole thing was like, who's going to be a Skrull? And it's like, too many of these guys... Yeah. Too many of these guys have been doing too much shit in the MCU to be a Skrull by now. I think Rhodey... I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Secret
So we don't know when Rhodey was replaced. I also haven't even got to... And I probably won't, got to the reveal, so I don't understand exactly how it is. And
so
when you
don't know... die in...
No, so the idea is that, I think on, the Skrull ship...
he's one of my favourite characters in the MCU.
On, the Skrulls ship, they, Everett's there, and he's, having his ship beamed into his brain, and they, they definitely rescue Rhodey at the end. I don't know what happens with Everett Ross, but the thing is, as well, that it's, Skrulls take all of, your memories and shit, so it's, they're not you kind of thing. It's weird.
Yeah,
but
right.
If I was Marvel, I would be he was just a real bad Skrull, and he got replaced between Iron Man and Iron Man 2 and didn't get the look right.
Do you know what's funny as well? Out of those 3 characters, Maria Hill would be the only one that I would be yeah, you can make her a Skrull.
Yeah, she's a Skrull in Far From Home, but she dies in the series, though.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly.
It's so funny. I'm just thinking, because of the order we've done these rounds in, I reckon a Martin Scorsese type would listen to the first 2 rounds and be like, "Yes, Kings, yes, you're preaching what we are trying to save," and then they'd get to this round and be like, "What are you talking about?" I don't fucking care. We had these mature conversations about the industry, and now we're like, yeah, apparently Maria Hill isn't a Skrull, but she dies in the series.
But yeah, a lot of people are annoyed about the Rhodey reveal because it means that or potentially means that he wasn't there in Endgame, and so the death of Tony, which is openly spoiling all these movies, but the death of Tony Stark in Endgame, Rhodey wasn't actually there for. But I kind of think that because Armor Wars, which was going to be a TV show and is now apparently going to be a movie, which is centered around Rhodey, I don't know, I kind of it would be an interesting subplot if you deal with the fact that this dude is awoken and his best friend has died, and also people were gone for 5 years and all this shit. I never knew any of this.
Yeah.
I think in 20 to 30 years' time, and part of the reason that Marvel, the downfall of Marvel and it happened over Phase 4 is that, to me, I think Phase 4 just felt so aimless. Phase 1 was building towards the Avengers. Phase 2 was Phase 2 kind of at least had the momentum of that it was like, oh, we've seen what you're capable of, I'm still on board.
Yeah, yeah.
And then by the time we got to phase 3, it was very much like, this is building towards Thanos. And whereas phase 4 was just like, well, where is this going? We've now been told this is the multiverse saga and yada yada. But I think that for Marvel fans, and when you're up to phase 19 or whatever, that you'll look back at phase 4 as being like, oh, that's the one where they just fucking introduced a shitload of characters. And like pretty much every project has like, I mean, we just looked at Eternals, which has 10 new characters, new main characters essentially as well. But there's a lot of characters that have been introduced and then like not paid off in any way. Like there's a giant celestial coming out of the ocean at the end of Eternals, and no one's mentioned it again. And I think that's partially because of like the production lines of these films and stuff. But I'm going to give you a Marvel project, and you have to tell me the character randomly introduced in the post-credit scene.
Okay.
So Thor: Love and Thunder.
It randomly introduces Hercules.
Yeah, Playboy Roy Kent from Ted Lasso, which is a fun thing. Black Panther.
Young T'Challa?
Yeah, T'Challa Jr. Who's not necessarily
really?
going to be like a superhero, but She-Hulk TV show.
Oh, Hulk's son.
Yeah, Scar. Black Widow.
Elaine from Seinfeld.
Yeah, Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Was that where she was introduced though, or was
she was in
Captain America? No,
she was in Falcon Winter Soldier first. She was supposed to be introduced in Black Widow and then reappear, but it ended up being the other way around. But yeah, I mean, I'll still count it. Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, and then lastly, Eternals.
Introduced Star Fox.
Yeah, Harry Styles carried Eros. I also would have accepted Pip the Troll, the Black Knight, and Blade.
Yes, that's right. It introduced 4 characters in its post-credit scene. Which I think, if we're going to pull this back to being a little bit more academic like the first 2 rounds were, I think what Marvel have done here is not only was Phase 4 so aimless, Richard, it also did so much. There's also so much of it. Right? And it's like, imagine if Phase 1 was as aimless as Phase 4. It'd be like, it's 5 movies. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly.
This is like 5 TV shows and 6 movies. It's like, yeah, no wonder people are like fucking... They're confused. There's no jump-on point anymore.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of jump-off points. And I think the relentlessness of it plays into what we were talking about in the other 2 rounds. That like... all of these things is not only are they bad for the economy of cinema, not the box office. They're very good for the box office, but the spiritual economy of cinema. And not only are people already sick of the genre, 7, how many years in? Like 15 years in?
2008, yeah.
And not only that, but the biggest thing of all is it's not fucking slowing down.
Yeah.
It's ramping up, and people are checking out.
Kevin Feige has said that they're going to focus a bit more on quality than quantity. But like talking about
Kevin Feige, Kevin Feige also says the dogs can't look up.
But the thing you're saying about like the projects, one of the most staggering things for me is that like So Anthony Mackie, Falcon, is given the Cap shield at the end of Endgame, which is the 22nd MCU project, and then 3 projects later he appears as in full suit as Captain America. There's then 23 projects in between that and him appearing again.
And that's if you're not counting individual episodes of some of those.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Isn't that fucking insane? That it's like before we get Captain America, Brave New World, not New World Order, which is now coming out 2025, I think. Crazy shit. One of the other things that I'm certainly getting sick of, but like it is like all this multiverse bullshit and pulling in shit from old... I mean, like, the multiverse as a thing, as, like, a concept is a bit played out anyway, but, like, this idea of, like, taking someone from a non-MCU Marvel film and popping them in, and it's like, holy shit, look what we've done. But there's like
this
still
was surprising in 2019 when you did it for the first time.
Yeah, but like there is still a part of me that's like excited for these cameos, and I hate that I am like
totally. Yeah,
that like
I reckon
it's
Martin
cool to see.
Scorsese himself could not deny a glint of excitement, a slight endorphin rush every time. So when J.K. Simmons appears at the end of Far From Home, Martin Scorsese himself is like, "This is so hype."
So, which of these characters is not rumored to appear in Deadpool 3? So you've got Jennifer Garner as Elektra, Channing Tatum as Gambit, Miles Teller as Mr. Fantastic, Owen Wilson as Mobius M. Mobius, or Chris Evans as the Human Torch.
I'm going to say Channing Tatum is not rumored.
No, so the only one there that's not officially rumored is Miles Teller as Mr. Fantastic.
Right.
There's I haven't seen anything rumored to be coming back from the 2015 film, but yeah, apparently this might be Channing Tatum's one chance to play Gambit. Jennifer Garner as Elektra is like confirmed, I think. And then potentially it's going to involve the TVA and shit as well, so Owen Wilson will be there.
Oh my god. I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care.
Like, this is like, if Deadpool was the first multiverse movie or the first movie to do, like, if they weren't doing this seriously at the same time, this would be, dream project.
I talked before about the tropes of a superhero movie.
Yeah.
I didn't even mention multiverse, which has its own series of tropes, and they're both fucking doing it. Both Marvel and DC and Sony are doing it.
Yeah.
They're all doing it. It gives me the biggest fucking headache, and I don't care about seeing this happen anymore. It was mildly interesting when it first came up, and now it's just like it is breaking down the walls between art and commerce and the film industry.
Well, it's also like we've seen it perfected in superhero movies with Spider-Verse, and we've seen it perfected outside of superhero movies with Everything Everywhere. And I saw a thing, I can't remember exactly how it worded, but that it's like the thing that Everything Everywhere and Spider-Verse got right about the multiverse is that it's about different versions of you, and that it's like the idea of exploring the multiverse and being like, oh, like, DC and Marvel are both using it to be like, look, we got this guy back, and this to be like, look how big the universe is. Whereas Everything Everywhere and Spider-Verse both used it to tell a personal message of, look how big your potential is. Which is such a more interesting message.
And also, there are going to be a billion, nerds that disagree with me. I don't think this crossing over IP, using the multiverse as an avenue to cross over different IPs, I don't think it works. I don't think it's ever worked. I can't think of an example I like.
When do you reckon
an example that paid off?
Give me a year. What year do you reckon we're going to see? This is one of the questions officially. What year do you reckon we're going to see Marvel versus DC on the big screen in live action?
I reckon we're still probably 20 years, 20, 30 years. Maybe we'll look back and be like, oh, remember?
Yeah. Remember that 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, Marvel versus DC?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how likely that even is to happen.
James Gunn has said it's a matter of time, he thinks.
Right. I don't know, 2030?
Yeah, I would say 2030 as well, end of the decade. One of the reasons that maybe Marvel's going downhill as well is it's just getting too big. People are having to repeat themselves. And can you tell me which upcoming title character is being played by an actor that's already appeared in the MCU?
Oh, can I see a slate of the upcoming MCU films? Okay, let's go. Blade.
Yeah, so Mahershala Ali was in Luke Cage, which is arguably part of the MCU. Played a character called Cottonmouth, who was apparently, I didn't watch Luke Cage, apparently the best part of the show, and then they killed him off like halfway through, and the show wasn't as good after that. In classic MCU fashion.
Classic MCU style.
So one thing that we talked about before is that I mentioned about how I think we're going to look back at 2023 as being a tipping point, or the year the bubble burst, and we saw that like last week or the week before, that the Marvels actually has the lowest opening for an MCU film at the box office.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what other two films round out the bottom three?
From 2023?
No, from Marvel. What are the three lowest? Lowest Marvel openings.
Ant-Man and Ant-Man 3?
You were correct, and then you incorrected yourself.
Ant-Man, and let's go Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
So, Marvel's made 47 million opening weekend, Incredible Hulk 55.4 mil, and Ant-Man 57.2 mil.
Nice.
Because, I think Ant-Man, like, maybe Civil War was the tipping point when it was like, which was the film after Ant-Man, that it's like anything Marvel does is a success. Whereas, like, Ant-Man was still at the stage of like, it's a bit of a silly idea, I don't know if I'm into this one.
Yeah, no, totally. And I also think that, like, here's the Greek tragedy of the MCU, right? Is that they have all these things that we've discussed have contributed to the quote-unquote death of cinema. And now the MCU itself is suffering financially, where it matters, right?
Yeah.
Financially suffering from that, and they can't save it. They can't do anything about it. No one can save it because no one's seeing the fucking auteur films either. You know? Like, Barbie's all we have. Barbie and Oppenheimer are all we have.
The last one I have that I think, again, we're going to see this is a recently resolved thing that we're going to see the effects of, but how long did the recent SAG-AFTRA strike last?
147 days.
118 days. I think you might be thinking of the writer's strike.
118 days.
But the writer's strike was longer. But yeah, it was only 6 weeks, the SAG strike. The longest one in history was in 2000, which was 3 months.
Wow. I thought it was much
weeks.
Longer than that.
Yeah, it was longer than 6 weeks. I don't know.
It directly affected my career and workload.
Yeah.
I thought it was longer.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, 118 days is more than... How long is 118? That's more than 3 months. What the hell? Maybe...
I thought it was a weird thing to say, Richard, but I was like, Richard knows maths and I fucking don't, so I shouldn't comment.
Yeah, stupid Variety. 148 days was the writers, and then SAG strike was 118 days. Yeah, which is more than 6 weeks. Okay, Variety. You dick.
It felt like a lot longer than 6 weeks.
Yeah. Anyway. And that's the quiz. Do you think Marvel has a post-Endgame problem?
To put it
incredibly mildly, yeah.
Yes.
Do you think that in 20 to 30 years we're going to look back at this as a dip post-Endgame and it really found itself afterwards, or is this the end?
No, I reckon in a quick 6 weeks of 118 days, they'll already be back on track. It's 16 weeks. Maybe that's what the problem was.
Yeah, maybe.
16 weeks, a lot longer than 6 weeks as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
More than double.
Yeah.
Triple almost. Yeah. No, I think that this has been great to kind of dissect. It's something which feels like we've needed to comment on for a wee while, and I think the one silver lining here is the Barbies and the Oppenheimers of the box office that are like these bright sparks of creativity that are doing well.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about Hollywood learning the wrong lessons, and it's frustrating because like to even make a sequel to Barbie is to ignore the lessons of Barbie. But maybe there is room to grow. Maybe there is room to realize that it's not about sequels anymore. Maybe people in general are getting tired of sequels, and they instead of being
the lack of
inundated with and instead of being inundated with a mythology they need to update themselves on, they can just go into single serving films, you know? Maybe that's the future. I hope it is.
I think, that like I'm always fascinated looking back at some of our early episodes of this podcast and, stuff like the state of Marvel, that like, if you listen to some of those podcasts now, it's like, oh yeah, like I can't believe we didn't know about this yet. Or like, oh yeah, that thing was in the works. And like, sometimes I'm amazed by how quickly, I know films take a long time, to make, but also how quickly they can be made. Like You know, that like on the podcast we talk about like, oh, they're making a Fantastic Beasts film, and now it's like that franchise has been and gone. That like it'll be interesting in another 5 years to look back at this podcast and talk about, you know, how naive we were at the state of Marvel, because the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars will have been and gone in 5 years' time, theoretically. Yeah. They're due to come out 2026 I think.
I think Kang Dynasty might have already gone, to be honest.
But yeah, they're like, we're like, oh yeah, I forgot it used to be called Kang Dynasty. Who was that guy that used to play Kang?
Who was that guy again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think as well that like one of the big sort of entering their flop era things is that, you know, they're pinning everything on, like, think about the first time we saw Thanos, right? That it was the post-credit scene of Avengers, this threatening guy out in space that like, oh shit, Loki was a big threat, but this guy was pulling all the strings behind even that. And then he was in Guardians of the Galaxy, he's this feared warlord, he's tortured Nebula, and he's... First time we see Kang is in Loki, end of Loki season 1. Kind of a weird dude, but it's like, oh shit, you know, what could this guy be doing? It sort of has that same mistake. Second time we see Kang, he's in Ant-Man and he loses to Ant-Man.
Yeah, and they could have ended it there. They could have cut and run there.
Yeah. It's interesting, like, They
invested in Jonathan Majors, and he is tanking the, like, outlook of
I think you could easily just recast him, though.
That's probably true. That's probably what they'll do.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, Richard, I've tallied up my points, and you're not going to believe this. I got them all right.
Oh, wow.
I've actually got
I
30 out of 30 questions right, which is a really good score for me. Maybe make it a little bit harder next time, buddy. Thank you for listening, everybody, to our little disappointed roundup of the state of Hollywood, of the MCU, of superhero movies. Let us know your thoughts, and you can do that by jumping on the Discord, which you can see a link in the show notes to. And yeah, hop in. I'm sure, like, if you've never joined the Discord before, come and join it, especially if you're not a male film buff. I think it'd be cool to diversify our Discord a little bit more. Although if the MCU has taught us anything, it's once you go woke, you go broke. So actually, maybe stay out. No girls allowed. I just
think it doesn't make sense. Like, I think women just don't use Discord. I just think that, like, scientifically, it's not accurate to have... Yeah. I'm trying to do the same character, but I think it came across as too earnest.
Great one... the other great one is go woke, go broke. I mean, look at the highest grossing movie of the... Look at the second highest grossing movie of the year. Like, it's Christopher Nolan rocks. Like.
Yeah, well, actually, second highest is Super Mario movie. With our boy Chris Pratt. Did you see the Tomorrow War?
You can support us also by following us on Instagram and X, and in parentheses, formerly Twitter, as it's now rebranded as, which is the sign of a failed rebrand.
You said the exact thing at the end of the last podcast.
Did I? Okay, cut it out then.
I'm going to make it louder.
You can also support us financially on patreon.com/cultpopture. If you give us enough money, we'll fucking save cinema our bloody selves. Thank you for listening, everybody, and stay tuned for the post-credit scene coming at you after this music ends. Welcome along, everybody, to the post-credit scene, a segment named after, it's, you know, made famous by a franchise we just spent the last 2 hours deriding.
Yeah, a podcast I thought was going to be like an hour.
Yeah. This is a segment where at the end of each episode, if you donate $5 or more over at patreon.com/cultpopture, you get to give us something to talk about. Richard, who's it from and what is it?
Today's one comes to us from Nick Gallagher, who says, what classic 90s show do you think is crying out for a TV show or a movie, and who would you cast?
Whew! Very big question for a posted 2-hour podcast where my brain is
I think
melted into
the one
mush.
that I am surprised hasn't come back in some form, and while there was a Funny or Die sketch, is Captain Planet. Feels like we need him now more than ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Magic School Bus.
A Magic School Bus movie. Doesn't it sound
They
like
did reboot Magic School Bus, though, didn't they, on Netflix with Kate
With
McKinnon as Miss
Kate
Frizzle.
McKinnon, yeah. It doesn't like
She
live
belts
action.
everyone!
Doesn't live action Magic School Bus sound like the next project from like an exciting up and coming director? That it's like the death knell for their career. Where they sold out was when they made the Magic School Bus movie. No, let's go. Where is the Tim Allen Home Improvement revival? Home Improvement.
Homer Improvement.
Homer
do.
The Simpsons is my answer.
Yeah.
That's
Simpsons,
my
we need
classic
another
property
Simpsons movie.
From the 90s, yeah.
I do also think it's weird we've never gotten a theatrical Family Guy movie. I know Scrubs is my thing now.
Richard, Scrubs is your thing now.
I mean, Scrubs debuted in 2001, I think, or 2002. Stewie Griffin, The Told Story.
I'd call it Family Guy, the freaking sweet movie.
Yeah. What were other 90s shows? I mean, like, the thing is that so many of them have been rebooted now. It's, like, actually hard to narrow it down.
Yeah, well, the ones I genuinely liked are, like, The Wonder Years, which very quietly got rebooted and cancelled. I found out the other day.
What was it cancelled already?
Yeah.
Do you 21 Jump Street?
I hate...
Gargoyles is coming back.
When you do a podcast for 8 years, you're bound to repeat yourself, and I've repeated this multiple times, but it is technically an answer to the question. I'm surprised that we haven't revisited The Mask. That's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
Especially in today's climate, where people can't get enough of superhero films. Let's get The Mask reboot going.
Did I read this the other day, I think? But
With Pete Davidson as Stanley Ipkiss.
Oh, he would be, yeah.
As a punk rock Gen Z Stanley Ipkiss.
Yeah. Now, did I dream this, or is Doug getting a second movie?